Hey everybody, Crafting Journey here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm out for the walk with the dogs. No cat. Can't find him. Didn't come home for dinner last night. Didn't come home all night. And he's not here for the walk, so I'm a little worried. I'm gonna go looking for him. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, Crafting Journey here, that Journey Chick on Instagram, and the leftovers on my second YouTube channel where I do reselling for profit on eBay. And today I got a good show for you. I'm super tired. Oh my God. So first, let me just get your mind at ease. During the walk, I could not all night long, couldn't find Stitch. He didn't come up for dinner. Usually, first thing in the morning, he's like right there at the door. I looked for him several times during the night. I'm so tired. Didn't get much sleep. Not because of that, but, life. Anyway, so I wake up this morning, still no Stitch. He's not anywhere. So we looked around the house. We go for the walk, which he usually is right there waiting for the walk to go with us, and wasn't in his little hiding places, and so I was pretty worried. So then I went around the block a different direction where I know like he will go. We don't usually walk that way, but we went that way. Couldn't find him, called out his name a few times. I just wanted to make sure he wasn't like lying on the side of the road somewhere. I know, I'm a cat mom, I know. So all this angst, I come home, walk in the house, he's sitting there eating his dinner. I'm like, where the hell have you been? But I'm happy he's safe and he's home. But he must have had quite the evening. He's not in his little bed. He's roaming around the house somewhere. So what you're seeing here, I'll show you. I started this last night. Yeah, I've got baggies, the toolkit. If you want to watch the episode from last night, we started the miniature event. I am making this camper. Now, already this morning, I come sit down and I find one of the pieces on the floor. So this is already, I'm in trouble. I'm like, okay, because there are all these little pieces to this thing. Oh my gosh. Let me just show you real quick. I'm not going to work on this while I'm talking to you, obviously, but look at all these pieces. Good gravy. I'm doing this little camper. This is kind of what it looks like, or what it's going to look like if and when I finish it. So I just wanted to put this piece away. See, I've got some of it kitted up, like I've cut out the pieces for the cabinet there. I just want to put this, it's a little guitar case. I want to put it in. So I ended up, I started to put all the different pieces into the baggies for each little project. The door, the chair, and then I thought, I'm just going to cut all this wood out because it was, and so these are all the wood pieces that I haven't put with their projects. So we're going to put this in here. Look at all these little pieces. But they're all labeled. I wrote on them in pencil what pieces they are. And then later today, I'm going to continue. I'll show you these instructions. Holy moly. You go through the instructions and yeah, look at these. Mind-boggling, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rocket science. So I did the table, the chair, the cabinet. I started to do the cabinet. So I will continue because there are pages and pages. Induction cooker, kettle, the bed, the fruit tray. Oh my God. The suitcase, the barbecue rack, guitar bag. It just keeps going. Pages and pages. The floor, the tire, the axe. Oh, geez. Okay. So what have I gotten myself into? But I'm kind of enthusiastic about it because there's so many people doing it with me and we're all encouraging each other. As long as I don't keep finding pieces, bits and bobs all over the floor. Okay, so we're just going to put that off to the side. I cannot possibly work on that while I'm talking to you guys. And I have a lot to talk to you about today. I'm still working out the whole sound issue, guys. Please bear with me because I really cannot afford to buy another microphone right now. All right, so there is a new trial. Yes, the trial of extreme skier Dean Cummings. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. I didn't listen yesterday because jury selection was yesterday, and then they had opening statements. I didn't even know about this case till today. A lot of people didn't know about it. Law and crime, they don't tell people ahead of time what they're covering, when they're going to start it. They just, all of a sudden, it's there. So I did a little research on Dean Cummings. He was a former U.S. freestyle ski team member. Like, he would do freestyle moguls. Like, these guys are crazy good skiers. The Real Vail, Colorado website labels him the big mountain ski legend. And he would travel between Colorado, New Mexico, and Alaska. Now, he lived for 20 years up in Alaska, where he started this hella skiing business. I don't think it's the sport I will ever participate in. I love to ski, but hella skiing? No, I'm the person you see on the green run, just, meandering back and forth. That's me. No extreme skiing in my past or future. So this is a very long story, and I'm going to try to abbreviate it, but he was having marital issues. Mentally, he was starting to become schizophrenic, and he thought everybody was out to get him. He thought that his wife was plotting against him to take his business away. He had a guide business, a skiing guide business, and I think it was called H2O Guides. And he just thought everybody was out to get him. So he moves in with his wife. She's afraid for her life because at one point he says, I'm going to take our young daughter, 3 years old, and I'm just going to drive her off the side of him. He said he was going to kill himself, take her with him. So she gets the kid and she just leaves. She's like, she got a protective order against him, and she's just, out of there. So he ends up in New Mexico. He kept showing up at different friends' houses, and they could, just based on what he was saying to them, they're like, he is off his rocker. There's something going on with this guy. He thought, he said, oh, the truck, I drove behind a truck, and the diesel fuel coming off the truck, they were trying to poison me, and he thought people were out to get him, and just, the way a schizophrenic will do that. So he ends up in New Mexico living with his parents, and he tells them one day, he says, I'm going to be moving out, and I'm going to buy a ranch. And he meets with this guy, Guillermo Aurelio. He tells his parents, I'm going to go live at this ranch for a little while we're negotiating, and supposedly he was going to buy it for $1 million, which would be this exorbitant price for this ranch. So apparently he goes out there and he's living on this ranch with Guillermo Aurelio, and one night this other guy, he's a motorcyclist, he's driving through New Mexico, and he stops. They have these signs that have, say scenic area or whatever, where you can stop and enjoy the scenery. So this motorcycle guy, he stops there and he's enjoying the scenery, and along comes Dean Cummings. He pulls up in his vehicle, and they're having this conversation, and this guy, the motorcycle guy, he's like, he was telling me all this crazy stuff about people, they're against him and they're after him. And, but then he said, hey, I can't get any cell service. Can I use your cell phone? So the motorcyclist says, sure, you can use my cell phone. He says, I just want to call 911. And he's like, okay, what do you need 911 for? He goes, well, I just got into this fight with this guy back at the ranch where I'm living, and he tried to kill me, so I shot him. So by now, 911 is on the phone. This guy, the motorcyclist, he's trying to get the police to come out and meet them. He says, well, is the guy still alive? And he goes, I don't know. So he says, well, take me to this place. It was a trailer. So he says, take me there. So the motorcyclist follows Cummings back to the ranch, and lo and behold, there's Guillermo Aurelio. He's holding on to a canister. He's dead, face down on the floor. And so this motorcyclist says, well, you're going to be in trouble, man. You shot this guy. And he's like, yeah, but it was self-defense. And, he was trying to poison me with what was in that container that he was holding. Well, as it turns out, the container was mace. So I'm sure there's a good story there, but the guy's dead and can't tell us the story. So the motorcyclist said, well, I need to go back to that sign to meet the police. Follow me back there. So the motorcyclist gets back to the sign and realizes Cummings has not followed him to the sign. So he meets up with the police and he tells the police what's going on, that there's a dead guy back at this ranch. So the motorcyclist takes the police back to the ranch where Cummings is there. He's there. He tried to conceal his identity, but they see him. He's actually approaching, as they're approaching the ranch, Cummings is approaching the police in his vehicle. So they stop him. They're like, get out of the vehicle, step out of the car. And so he does. And he said, hey, I'm not going to hurt anybody. It was self-defense. He says, I left the rifle on the doorstep at the ranch. And so they said, okay. So they searched his vehicle. He had 7 cell phones, 3 laptops, 2 other guns, and $20,000 in cash in his vehicle. And the gun that he used to kill Arroyo was an AR-15 rifle. Now, I'm trying to picture a situation where someone is trying to spray me with mace and I run, go get my AR-15. Yeah. Anyway, so he's arrested. And this was on February 29th of 2020 when the murder occurs. The grand jury charges him with second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and concealing his identity, which is a misdemeanor. Then in June of 2020, he is declared incompetent to stand trial. Cuckoo. Yeah. For Cocoa Puffs. So, and that means that it doesn't mean he's insane. That it's not insanity. He just means he cannot assist with his own defense because of a mental disease or defect. So they put him in a mental institution, and in March of 2021, he's competent. Probably put him on some medication, evened him out, and he's fine now. So the jury was selected yesterday. I will be listening to opening statements so I can cover that for you and let you know what part of the story I got wrong, or if there's any additional details of the story I can provide for you. But this is going to be an interesting one. We need an interesting trial after Darrell Brooks, or the guy who doesn't want to be known by that name. Anyway, let's talk about Ethan Crumbley. I have not mentioned Ethan Crumbley's name in a very, very long time. I need a sip of coffee. It's cold. I need a refill. So, Ethan, he was a high school student in Michigan, 15 years old at the time. He's 16 now. He guns down 4 students and injures many more. And the school and his parents were aware that something was going on with this kid. They had teachers had brought to school authorities' attention this drawing that he had done, this really strange drawing that, and the school called his parents and they said, listen, you need to take him home and don't bring him back until he's seen, a psychiatrist or counseling or something. But they said no. Parents said, no, we're going to leave him in school. They leave him in school. He shoots everybody. So his parents have been in jail since December of 2021. 11 months they have been in jail. This is the first time parents have ever been held responsible for a school shooter. I kind of feel sorry for him, but not that much. I mean, there was a whole thing. They knew they were going to be charged. They tried to flee, go over to Canada. They were found and arrested. So here's what's happened recently. Now, Ethan decided he's going to plead guilty. 20-something counts of various charges, including the murder of the 4 students. So he changed his plea. He had originally entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, but he decided we're going to withdraw that plea. I'm going to plead guilty. So he pleads guilty. The sentencing will occur, I believe the judge said, in March of 2023. So a few months down the line. Meanwhile, his parents were in court last week for a Daubert hearing. Now, what that is a hearing to determine whether an expert witness is really an expert in that field and whether it's really necessary for that person to come before a jury and explain, this expert knowledge. So it's this woman who's an expert in school shootings. She's published on school shootings. She's researched on school shootings. She speaks about it. She's wrote books about it. And what she has to say is that this violence doesn't just randomly occur. It's a slow buildup over time, and it's something that can be recognized by parents, teachers, and she tries to teach what it is that can be recognized. She said that the drawing that Ethan made was absolutely a warning sign that something was going to occur. So there wasn't a ruling at the end of this hearing about whether or not this expert is going to be allowed to testify at the trial, but I expect she probably will. It's just that this is such a new area of expertise. It's just never been offered at trial before. The woman said, I've never testified at trial before for anybody. Yeah. So that should be interesting. So yeah, these parents have spent 11 months in jail. Now, let's switch over to good old George Wagner the third, who's being tried for the murders of 8 members of the Rodin family. So yesterday, Angela Wagner took the stand. Now, of course, this is his mother, and I've told you several times, Jake, his brother, has already pled guilty and is serving 8 life sentences. Angela, his mother, pled guilty, and she is serving 30 years in prison for helping to plan the murders, for concealing the murders. She did not take part in the murders, which is why she got 30 years instead of any life sentences. But she did agree to testify in exchange for that sentence. But she opted out. The judge in this case has given witnesses the ability to opt out and not be filmed by the press. No cameras, no video. So we don't get to hear what she is saying. So according to what I have read in the news media, she came into the courtroom. She glanced at her son. He was looking down. He did not look at her. They have not seen each other in 4 years. And this was a very, very tight-knit family. They commingled their funds. They had family meetings. They had girlfriends and wives that were all protected and were not allowed to see their own families. Very tight-knit family. So Angela admitted that she bought the shoes at Walmart that the boys were going to wear for the murders. What she said is that she believes this murder, they believed that the 2-year-old Sophia that Jake had with Hannah Mae Roden, one of the people that were murdered, he shared custody of this child, and the family believed that this child had been or would be sexually molested by the Roden family. So they were doing all this to protect her. And the original idea was just to murder. Well, first, it was suggested that they would just turn Chris in for his grow business. He was growing marijuana. And the father, Billy, who's still pled not guilty and has a trial coming up next year, he said, no, that's not a good idea. We need to kill him. So then they suggested, well, let's just kill Hannah Mae. And he's like, no, because then the rest of them, they'll come after us. So they decided they were going to kill everybody. And so she was asked why so many people were killed. And she said, well, because they were there. Wow. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy. And she says nobody's heart was really in it. They didn't really want to have to do it, but they had to do it to protect Sophia. Yeah. She admitted that she helped plan the murders, that she helped prepare for the murders, and that she helped cover up the murders. So she did not complete her testimony. She will take the stand again this morning. Now, if you turn it on YouTube, you won't hear anything. You'll just see the defense table. They usually have the camera on the defense table. And you'll see you just won't hear anything. You'll just get a video of the defense maybe objecting or whatever it is they're doing. It's just quite boring. So that's what is going on in the Wagner trial. In its 8th week. 8 weeks. And we still haven't even gotten to the defense case. And this is like the weakest case that they have against George. The evidence against Angela and Jake and Billy is far greater than what they have against George. So I'm curious what this jury is going to do with the little bit of information they have that George did not fire any weapon at these murders, but he was present. He helped plan the murders, he helped prepare for the murders, and he helped conceal the murders. He didn't do any of the murdering, but he's still charged with their murders because he was there and an accomplice. What a tangled web we weave. Okay, let's talk about this day in history. On November 2nd, this day, 1989, a nurse's aide, Gwendolyn Graham, is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of 5 patients at a nursing home where she worked at. Now, this was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. She and her romantic partner, Catherine Woods, had been employed as nurses' aides at this home. Now, Catherine Wood was Graham's supervisor, and after she got the job there, she and Catherine Wood became lovers. And they decided that they were going to carry out these murders and that they were going to do it by spelling out the word murder. They would pick someone with an M and then a U and then, I don't know. Anyway, so the first time they attempted this with the letter M, the first victim fought back and they quickly abandoned the whole initial spelling out the murder. And then they just decided to prey on the weakest women in the facility. Now, this went undiscovered for a long period of time until Graham and Wood became estranged, and then Catherine Wood decides to turn in Graham for these murders. And in exchange for testifying against Graham for the murders, she would serve 20 to 40 years in jail, and Graham went in front of a jury and was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, when this all comes to light, the police investigate these 5 murders, and these women were all thought to have died of natural causes. So they reinvestigate, and they really had no clear evidence that these women had committed the murders. What they had was Catherine Wood's testimony that this is what happened. And this woman, Gwendolyn Graham, was convicted on it. Interesting. So that's what happened this day in history. All right, guys, that is the show for today. I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to hit the like button. Just go boop, 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 right there. Boop. Helps the algorithm. Helps my channel grow. And don't forget, if you enjoy the content, to subscribe, because I don't charge you for subscribing. It's absolutely free. And you don't want to forget the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode of Crafting and Crime Daily. Now, tonight I will be doing Craft With Me Wednesday. Is a live that I do where I will work on various crafts. So tonight I'm going to be working on, yeah, you guessed it, the miniature, continuation of the camper. It's going to be fun. All right. I will see you guys either tonight. That's at 6 p.m. Central Time. Just a 1 hour. You get to watch me struggle with the little pieces. Okay. I'll see you then, or I'll see you tomorrow in Crafting and Crime Daily. Take care, everybody. Bye.